Hey everyone, Adam here with Indie Farm Life. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do something with the tractor that I intended to do about 3.5 months ago. A little bit of scheduled maintenance. So this is a 2016 John Deere 4052R with the Tier 4 engine, which some people hate, but it hasn't been too bad for me. The engine, that is. The tractor itself is amazing. Anyway, it has about 450 hours on it. Of those, it's 450. 300 are with the transmission actually in motion. There's a setting on the dash that kind of tells you that. Today I'm doing the first transmission fluid change I've ever done on this, so new things always take a little longer. Plus an oil change and fuel filter change. And if I have any grease, I'll grease all my Zerks, but I don't know if I do right now. So like I said, I anticipate the oil change and the fuel filter change being pretty quick. The transmission fluid change, I'm sure I'll be consulting the manual, which is electronic and very convenient. But first things first, need to turn this into a race tractor, which means getting rid of the loader and the implement on the 3-point, which is a post hole digger. So I'm going to do that. You guys are going to hopefully hit that subscribe button, stick with me, and we'll get this thing all fixed up. Oh, and by the way, fixed up does not mean power washed. I don't have running water out here yet. I know it is in desperate need of it, but one day. That right there is like one of the single best features that John Deere has. Oh! Hurts. That'd be... Had to take her for a little spin to make sure that she's ready to go racing and to warm up all the fluids. I'm doing the oil first though, so I'll probably have to do that again. There's my sad face when I get to the transmission. That there's an expensive box, boys and girls. This thing's a wreck. So obviously step one is take off your side panels, but it's only 1 bolt, not too bad. Just don't lose it. Thanks, Deere. Make them a different size. That's really cool to me. All right, so you remove 2 panels. It's 3 bolts in total. Now you have access to your fuel filter, or your sediment bowl, your oil filter there, and then your canned fuel filter there. Let's drain some oil. Yet again, a different size. I guess you could say this is a how-to since you're watching me do it. If you have questions about anything in the process, just leave them in the comments. I'm not really giving you a step-by-step, but you can watch what I'm doing and cross that with the manual, I suppose. Here we go. That's like me. Guess. Oh, come on. Best in the biz. What you're supposed to do next is drop the drain plug in the bucket of oil. Really helps speed up the process. Yep, it's disgustingly black. Ugh. Every time I do this and I know that I've been a little bit longer on the oil change than I should, I feel like a parent who's neglected their child. The color of that oil is just disgusting. So it wasn't the drain plug, but I definitely just dropped that socket into the bucket of oil, which is much deeper than the gloves I have on. So that's fun. I have to transfer it to another bucket and fish it out. One thing that we've always done out here is take a paint pen, which I know I probably won't be able to find. It's like we'll have trouble doing it again today, I'm sure, but mark the date you change the oil and the hours, because a lot of times you'll reach, at least in my case, I'll reach the date much sooner than the hour mark. It's supposed to be changed, oil's supposed to change once a year. Transmission, I'll get to that in a little bit, but this is dated August 18th of 19. So it's been over a year. At 320 hours, I'm at about, what did I say, 450, and the interval's every 200 hours, I think, on the oil. So not Not terribly bad, really. Get this big bad boy on here. There's another video out there talking about these wrenches if you're curious about how they work in more detail. These are my favorite kind, honestly. Just because you can get them into tighter situations than you can on a wrench. That's mistake number one. Don't do that either. Don't rub oil on the outside of this wrench or the can before you try to peel it off. Amateur hour over here. Once this thing bites, if this thing bites, it's game over. All right, paper towel and some dirt. You guys probably thought I was joking. I literally wiped out the paper towel and threw dirt on it, and was able to get enough grip to get her off. Yeah, so changing the oil is super easy. Like, other than putting the new filter back on and filling it full of oil, it's done. So don't take your stuff to the dealers, guys. It's silly. Waste of time trailering it or paying for trailering it. And you get a bucket of, call it sauce, to, you know, recycle. You guys know what I mean when I say recycle, right? If you watched our channel, you do. Open up this pack of goodies here. I think it might even have the air filters in it, which I don't know. I don't know if I really need to replace them quite yet. Clean the old one, but sit on it for a rainy day, or rather probably a dusty day. All right, oil filter, unlabeled filter, also unlabeled, also unlabeled. Guessing hydraulic fluid. That's one of the hydraulic fluid filters. And then yeah, the air filter is in fact in here. I'll pull that and show you guys. I don't think I'm gonna replace it at this time because it's a pretty impressive filter. I think it's relatively expensive for what it is. And I know that the one I have in there is gonna be clean, despite how my tractor looks. So I'll blast it out with an air compressor, but all right. New filter going on. Where is the oil? Other than filling it, the only thing you need to make sure you do is lubricate the O-ring, gasket if you want to call it that, on the oil filter with clean oil whenever you put it on there. I'll show you that. So just put a little oil on the gasket here. Tighten her down, fill her up. Don't forget to fish out your socket, bottom of your oil. They don't mention that in the manual, will sneak up on you. Did anyone laugh at how little I was surprised that that happened? I knew something would fall in the bucket of oil. It's just how it goes. This is so easy with one hand. See what I mean? I would call that sufficiently oiled. Just get the wrench and tighten that down. In case you were wondering, 1.2 gallons of oil. So I always like to just kind of clean my funnels and clean the area where you're putting the oil in before you get to it, just so you don't have any debris making its way into your engine. It'd be bad. Get yourself a long funnel too, because this part can be a real pain. Also, I don't know if the manual tells you to take the loader off, but as you can tell, without the loader arms in the way here, it's much easier. Does anybody else go through as many shop towels as I do when I work on stuff? Funnel takes a minute. This is ridiculous. It takes forever. You need to get a larger long funnel. Maybe this is why I go longer than a year between oil changes sometimes. I could maybe get the bottle in there, but I feel like I've done that before and had catastrophic results. All right, so after about an hour and a half, I got it full of oil, 1.2 gallons. That wasn't that bad. But it's full. I put the oil cap back on it. I got the drain plug tightened up, as is the oil filter. So just check the level before I give her a start. Do this just like Jiffy Lube. See, sir? There you go, right there to the line. Nice and dark. Ugh. I promise I put clean oil in it. So we'll give it a start and then just check the level again. The oil filter is not full of oil yet, so it is gonna bring that level down just a smidge. So if you went a little bit overboard, you should be okay. Obviously, I'm not encouraging you to overfill your oil pan. Yeah, as you can see there, it came down a little bit, so I'll top it off just a hair and then move on to fuel. So to recap though, oil is very simple. You don't even need a lift. I understand like taking your car somewhere if you don't want to deal with laying on the ground or things like that. But with a tractor, when you can throw a 5-gallon bucket underneath it, crack the plug, drain the oil, spin off the filter, put both of them back on, fill her up. Fuel couldn't be any easier. Literally one fuel filter here, spin it off, lubricate the gasket with diesel, put it on, and then their spin down sediment bowl here, take it off, and then this new paper cartridge goes up inside it. Little boogers on there pretty tight. I forgot I had the Hulk come out and put these down last time. There's no way you'd be able to do any of this without wrenches. I hang on to that clean diesel there to lube my ring because I don't think I have any actually laying around right now. I always like to just clean stuff up a little bit. There's the fuel shut off if you're looking for that. You don't have to fill your filters full of diesel on these. You can if you want, but these tractors are self-priming. So even if both filters are completely dry, when you go to start this thing up, the pump will push diesel through everything, which is really nice. I'm always afraid in the backhoe, if I ever run that thing dry, I'm in trouble. Get the old hand primer out. All right, other than tightening that down, that one's done. Good old sediment bowl. This is where you find the trash. Got my ice cream bucket down there. And there is a wing nut spin down in the bottom of this that you can on occasion let water out of there in your water separator if you want. Honestly, don't ever seem to do that often. Well, that was easier. The threads are 3.5 feet long. Wow. It doesn't look too bad. It's relatively clean. Good for me. Yeah, all that's on the outside. So clean this up, and then you got this new filter in here. Like I said, you don't need to put diesel back on it when you lube it up or go to put it back together, but new one of those in there. You're all set. I'm gonna clean up some of the stuff off camera and then I'll put it back together. Clean that bowl up a little bit. I'm gonna press this filter up there. Then I'm gonna show you guys how this thing self-primes. Nice. So the oil and fuel filter service intervals are, I think, 200 hours or once a year. I usually end up at once a year because typically don't put 200 hours on the tractor in a given 12-month period. Some of you commercial operators may. Sorry, it takes intense focus to not cross thread this. It also helps if you turn it the right way, or when working from above, the left way, not the right way. Note that there is a little rubber gasket in there between the metal housing and the bowl. I somehow dropped that one time and it leaked oil, and Chris was like, there's definitely a gasket you're missing. So I don't know, buddy. Yep, there was. Found it in his barn. Need some dirt over here. So when you kick this over, make sure you can see, you'll see that sediment bowl fill, and you hear the pump. Shadow. Priming. If you start it too early, the tractor will actually die because it doesn't have enough fuel. I've done that before. So there goes the pump. Still pumping. I don't see anything down in there yet. It's probably because Genius here turned the fuel off. There she goes, rushes in. Nothing like wearing out your fuel pump. So you can hear it. So we got both filters full, I'm sure. See? Told you. Don't be alarmed. It's not the first time it's happened to me. It's just trying to get fuel and everything. Dare I speak too soon? Alright, all good. Well, maybe I'll look at the air filter real quick. So yeah, air pulls in up here. That's probably the biggest thing to do is clean up that housing there so that the air coming in is just not nasty. Yeah, my outer filter looks pretty gross. So there's the outer filter. It is pretty dusty. And then the inner filter though, still in pretty good shape. You can see here that really no dust coming out of this. So that's good. So the outer filter is doing its job. But as you can see there, she's pretty full. I'm gonna fire up a generator and blast it with air for now and call that good on the air filter. I won't put the new ones in just yet. Their service interval I think is like 600 hours. So just clean what you have, save the expensive stuff for a rainy day. Oh, there's not too bad. Actually, it's about perfect still. It's okay to continue blowing debris from under the hood of your tractor, but before you do, be sure you put the two filters back in and close this all up so you're not blowing debris into the engine compartment. Well, I should say the actual engine, because it draws in air up here, and that's the exit to go into the engine. So I did actually find my paint pen too, so before you close this up, be sure to take it and write the date and the current engine hours so you know when you last serviced these filters. Oil, just a Sharpie paint pen. So I need to take this thing for a spin and warm up the fluid a little bit, but there are the two filters. The smaller one is the transmission oil filter and the other one is the suction filter. 12.4 gallon capacity in total on this thing for fluid, so quite a bit. Those two filters are located right there. They're green / mud. And then the drain plug is that plug sticking down right, if I can point, right there. So I just checked and a 5 gallon bucket will fit under there, so gonna be a lot of fluid to move. And then the fill cap is back here in the back, so easy to access. But again, putting 12 gallons through that will take a little bit of time. Drain plug for the hydraulic fluid is pretty big, so I'm using a impact socket with a breaker bar. 12.4 gallons. I got 3 5 gallon buckets on standby. That fluid looks pretty good actually. It's coming out real quick though. Better get my act in gear with bucket number 3. There she is. See? Alright, I got all the fluid drained. There's the last bucket there, just kind of dripping. I'm going to tuck the drain plug back in there and then crack these two filters off that are up in here I showed you earlier and start filling. One item to note before you put the drain plug back in, and I'm sorry I didn't show you this, but the bottom of the drain plug is actually a magnet, and so you might have a little bit of sludge, any impurities in the oil. Hopefully you don't have big hunks of metal from your transmission down there. I just had a little bit of sludge on there, but you're going to want to clean that off before you put it back. And this is a good indicator if you have large particles here that you may have damage in your transmission. So if you're having transmission problems and you open it up and you find big hunks of metal here, not a good sign. Got the drain plug back in over there. Sorry you guys aren't gonna get to see this really because the tripod's just too tall, but yeah, I'm gonna put the red strapped wrench I had on the oil and fuel filters earlier on that guy there, which shouldn't be too bad, and then the one behind it. Once you pull those out, you lube the gaskets, put them back on, and then fill the machine. You're done. So there are the old filters. The green one is the transmission filter, and I took that off first since it was in front. It's actually fairly loose. And then the back one, the black one there, is the suction filter, which actually sits inverted. And there's a O-ring right there that goes with it, and the new one comes with the new filter. So I will put this one on first, being sure to lubricate that O-ring gasket, and then the fuel filter, or the transmission filter. Once those two are on and snug, then I can start filling it, which will be a process. There it is, all opened up. One thing I would advise is maybe power washing your tractor before you start this process if you're doing this, just to keep potential debris from falling into the opening for the suction filter, because I've got a lot of it. All right, so I got both filters on, as you can see there. I'm telling you too, the dirt method works. When you have oil you need to soak up, throw some dirt on it in your hands and the strap, and makes it a whole lot easier to tighten those up. And now I got to put 12.5 gallons or 12.4 in here. I showed you guys the fill plug there. That's actually the dipstick for the transmission there. So I'll set this up and chat with you guys a bit while I fill this, but by no means going to show you that whole process. Make sure the top of your bucket's clean so you don't just throw debris right into your transmission. And that's where I'll leave you guys and say, if you have reservations about working on your own tractor, don't. It's not that hard. Turning a wrench, spinning off filters, not a big deal. Like I said earlier, you don't even need a lift, so you might as well save yourself some time and money and not fuss with taking it to the dealer. You guys can definitely do this stuff. And I'll drop a link below to the manual for this tractor. I believe Deere has them out there for every tractor, but they're all hyperlinked, so you can find exactly what you're looking for and jump around real quick instead of thumbing through a big book. So I hope that's helpful. If you guys would, hit that subscribe button and come back and see us. We post new videos every Tuesday at 9. There's always something going on here at the farm.